Mostly, when I ask you guys for suggestions and inspiration, there comes an assortment of ideas. However, when I asked you guys for ideas for what to do with my leftover swamp yarn, can I do anything else than this, right? At first I was like, but fingerless mittens are so useless because my fingers get cold, not my hands. I need mittenless fingers, actually. Until one of you also posted the very intelligent commentary that fingerless mittens means I have my fingers free for spinning. It clicked. Suddenly it clicked. I also have this. Well, I'm not going to call her my stepmom because I'm not a child, but my father's girlfriend, my father's partner, gave me this last year, or well, in 2023 for Christmas. And it has a pair of fingerless mittens that I think would do great with my swamp yarn. I mean, there technically are two. You've got these elven gloves, already called Elf Warrior fingerless mitts. And Elf Warrior is something that sounds pretty cool to me, but also I flipping love Rohan. Let's see if I can find like a white yarn that matches the thickness of my swamp yarn, and then we just might go full on Rohan. Now there is one tiny hiccup, and that is the fact that I actually have hobbit-sized hands. Don't know if you can read the numbers on this, but that says 19. The pattern is made for a hand circumference of 21.5 centimeters with 2.5 centimeters negative ease. My hand already includes the 2.5 centimeters of negative ease. However, Mighty Master Meriadoc has shown us that petite stature does not mean that you can't be a Knight of Rohan. I just went with a little smaller size needle, and I can get it over the broadest part of my hand comfortably. That should work, right? However, I am taking you inside for the rest of the knitting of this project, or well, the start of knitting of this project, because it is cold in the studio and it is not comfortable to knit with cold fingers, especially not on these small needles. And this is exactly why fingerless mitts are actually a good idea. And I should have listened to you lot a lot earlier. It's not the first time that you have been suggesting that I should make some. I just had this stupid idea that I didn't have a need for fingerless mittens. There is a heating system in the studio, but it is very loud, so I cannot put it on while I'm filming. I can put it on like directly before filming, put it off, start filming, but the temperature just drops insanely quick, and like after 5 minutes I'm back to freezing fingers. And then I come here to film, which, as I have said multiple times before, is the lesser of the two light qualities. But I prefer it over freezing, I think. Yeah, maybe I do. Silly me, don't want to freeze. Arise, arise now, riders of Theoden. We've got our first fingerless mitt done, and it fits perfectly. Nice, snugly, comfortably. Only thing that I would change maybe later on if it starts to bother me is I think the thumb is a little bit, on the long side. I have, well, as I said, small hobbit hands with corresponding small hobbit thumbs. But my swamp yarn looks majestic like this. Really majestic. But this hand still makey. Let's make another one. On Christmas Day, my husband and I actually had no plans, no friends over, so we did a Lord of the Rings marathon. Because we could, and why not? The Fellowship leaves Rivendell on the 25th of December, so it is a Christmas movie after all. And Idras is like aesthetically one of my favorite sets of the movie, one of my favorite surroundings. My husband and I are really big medieval history lovers, and medieval aesthetic lovers. My husband is one who likes Gothic, but I am the one that in the real life likes Romanesque art and more early medieval inspired things, so Rohan is my place aesthetically. Next to Rivendell, because I also really love Art Nouveau inspired stuff. And Rivendell is just Jugendstil incarnated. Do you have a favorite city, place, surroundings in Lord of the Rings, and why? If you're wondering what is the point in just wearing one silly fingerless mitten right now while knitting, I'm actually testing already whether this makes any difference to me to be able to film in here for a prolonged time without my hands freezing up. And also, can I knit with this? Like, very, very important question. Can I still knit while wearing them? Or are they a little bit cumbersome? Right now my needles are cumbersome, but not so much the mittens. But when I get this knit established, they will behave a little bit better. I am probably the only one that is surprised, but yeah, this does make a difference. I'm not as cold in my fingers. And now I'm very excited to finish them actually, and have them here in the studio during winter. A couple of years ago, maybe 6, I knit some Gondor mittens for my husband, in fact. Looky, here. They're also in some kind of a gradient yarn, so we can be matchy, even though I think it is pretty clear that my knitting got slightly better. Just slightly, maybe. Also, this is a much nicer yarn because this is, of course, just cheap acrylic, as I was wont to do back in the days, but acrylic has its uses. But I am a wool snob and I will prefer this anytime, any day. But now, for the most important question of this entire video, can I comfortably spin with them? Yep, apparently I can. Here we go, a pair of fingerless mittens that will hopefully increase the comfort of my studio time here in winter and thus also make it possible for me to make better videos without having to go inside into the living room where the lights are very yellow. The going down like a quarter of a needle size was the right fit for my tiny hobbit hands, even though I thought in the beginning that maybe the thumbs would be a little too long. Actually, now that I have been using them for a bit, they're not, they're just exactly the right size. My thumbs being covered a little bit more hopefully adds to the overall comfort and warmth of it. I also do not mind an extra opportunity to show that I'm actually a big nerd. So you will be seeing these a lot more in future videos shot in wintertime. Now it will also surprise precisely no one that these mitts did not use up all of my bog yarn. Oh no! We still have, I don't know, half of the skein left. I would guess around 40 grams maybe. The bog yarn collection isn't done yet. That's clear. So I will once again ask the same question. What will you make with 40 grams of lace weight swamp colored yarn? What would complement this collection that already exists out of a pair of socks, a tiny scarf, and now a pair of fingerless mittens? This truly is the Polworth that keeps on giving. And I think all that rests for me to say is forth, Eorlingas! And if you like these kind of fiber shenanigans, then maybe you could like, comment, or subscribe. But of course, that is all up to you. And as for me, I will see you in a next video. But before we do that, maybe you could look at some more knitting shenanigans. Bye!